This is Kerrigan & Company. Why have a job when you can have a purpose? When you work for the Northeast Arc, you're joining a team dedicated to creating inclusive communities for people with disabilities. As an organization that supports more than 10,000 people each year, it's easy to find a role that fits your skills and passion. Become part of an organization that was named one of the best employers in Massachusetts. Visit ne-arc.org/careers to view job opportunities and apply. That's ne-arc.org/careers. Hi, everybody. It's Kim. In celebration of International Women's Month, we have some powerhouse women on this episode of Kerrigan & Company.
Kerrigan & Company is here for you. Yes, Kerrigan & Company is here for you.
Welcome, everybody, to Kerrigan & Company. So good to have you with us today, and I am so excited about who's keeping me company today. This is a repeat guest. She was with us once before to chat about her fabulous restaurants, and luckily for me, she was willing to come back and be my co-host and keep me company. I am welcoming Nia Grace, of course, the owner of Grace by Nia, both in the Seaport and now down at Foxwoods. Hi.
Hey, Kim.
Good. It's so good to have you back.
I'm happy to be here.
I'm glad to have you back because the first time you were here, you were a guest, and so we could chat a little bit. But now this gives us an opportunity to just talk about all of it.
We got some time now.
We've got a little, thank you very much. That's what we said at the time, too. We're going to have you back so we have a little more time. How's life at Grace by Nia?
Oh, it's been great. You know, we are coming up on 2 years on the Seaport, a year at Foxwoods. The music gets better. The food is getting better. Everything is great.
And I can't imagine it getting better because I've always thought it was great.
Yeah.
You know, I told you that the first time I was here. And by the way, when you were here that time, that's not the only time on this podcast that I have said to people that it's really my favorite restaurant in the city. It really is.
I appreciate that. My mother and mother-in-law appreciate that as well.
Well, and now I know that I'm in their ranking, and that's really great.
Yeah, you are.
For people who have never been to the restaurant, kind of explain it to people because it's unique, and I think that's what makes it one of the things that makes it so great.
Yeah, for me, Grace by Nia is like a timepiece, and it brings you back to a moment where you can slow down, truly enjoy the sights, the sounds, what you're smelling. Like, that is amazing to me. And it's a supper club. And so it's an opportunity to get dressed or just to come as you are, listen to some of the best live music that I believe we're presenting in the city as well as now in Foxwoods, and have some great food that's rooted in Southern comfort style as well as New England inspirations.
Yeah, absolutely. So. You've hit every single one of the things that I love about it. You know, every time that I'm in the restaurant, I look around, Nia, I always say, the beautiful people are here.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I'm not kidding you. I feel that way.
They come out in droves. I think it's great, too.
Yeah, they get dressed up. People, so in this day and age, nobody gets dressed up anymore. And it's really disappointing to me. I love to get dressed up. Yeah. I get dressed up to come. And I just think it's just great. It's just so fun. And every time I've been there, I've seen a different live act.
Yes.
Each one equally as good.
Yes.
And I was asking you about that. I mean, where do you guys come up with all those fabulous acts?
I would say we've been curating that list for about a decade. And so it started with my first restaurant, Daryl's Corner Bar and Kitchen in the South End, bringing in jazz bands as well as some vocalists. That list started there. But since we've opened Grace by Nia, again, I think it's over 100 different bands who perform with us. And 30 days out the month, you'll never see the same band twice.
Yeah, it's amazing to me. It really is. And to have the kind of quality bands that you're having, I've tried out and I didn't make it. So that gives of course, that wouldn't be too hard for you to turn down.
We're going to have a second round of auditions for you. I just want you to know that.
No, I assure you're not. But I mean, the quality really is spectacular. And I don't know that I even realized those bands have existed.
So what's great is, for me, I've always wanted I've started with the mission of, I want you to find your next favorite local band, So we know about the big pop stars, and these are the next pop stars. And so I want you to discover them at home first. And, myself, my music director, and that entire talent team, we listen. We are scouting. We even have a development night called Let It Flow on Wednesdays, where you can come, Kim, and, sing with the band, let the audience hear you and react to you. And that gives us our key in on who's going to be next on the stage for a feature.
That is such a fun, what a great idea.
Yeah, it's good.
What a great idea. So many innovative things happening there that go even beyond the incredible interior, which is absolutely gorgeous. I have not been to the one at Foxwoods, and I would really like to see it. I know you said it's just sort of the same vibe. It's certainly the same place, but it's in a different shape, if you will.
Yeah, I love the Seaport location. You've got the tall windows, right, and the high ceilings and that beautiful chandelier when you walk in.
Bet.
I feel like when you walk into our Foxwood location, also, led by the design team, Peter Niemitz, you get a little cozier feel. It feels like you've walked into the cellar or the parlor of something really special still, right? So you come from the bright outside of Foxwoods, and then you walk inside there, and it still kind of wraps you up with a hug.
I love that.
So.
Yeah, that is so great. What is a girl with a degree in criminology doing with restaurants?
Making my mother question my decisions. No.
Making your mother go, why did we spend all that money on that degree?
Well, what I love about the criminology degree, I earned that at the University of Miami. It was in the sociology department. And it allowed me to really understand what makes people work. And I didn't understand in that moment how that was going to play a part. But I've been in restaurants since I was 16 years old. One of my first jobs was working the cashier at Purple Cactus in Jamaica Plain. And I loved it. And then I worked at the Spirit of Boston. So being down on the Seaport is full circle for me. But I've always come back to restaurants. I've always enjoyed it. Is it an extroverted introvert? Am I something like that?
Yep, you're an extroverted introvert.
There we go. Mm-hmm. So I talk about that, and I actually use the restaurant industry to help me, kind of get out of my shell. Mm-hmm. And so I was like, well, I have to talk to the people. I have to kind of sell. And that when I was younger. And so it helped me to kind of break out some. But I've always come back to it. And so in school, I got involved with it as well. I was doing restaurants as well as entertainment. And after school, I was like, I'm back again. I don't know. It just drew me back.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I just think that's so interesting, but I can certainly see where you would have taken that, like you said, sort of getting inside people's minds to help you understand what a customer wants. And you got a lot of staff and you got to deal with that, which that to me seems like that's one of the tougher parts of the whole gig is, staff side.
You can talk about being in an industry and folks just being kind of black and white and all we're doing is here to do our jobs. But the restaurant industry is so much more intimate. You're not just able to just do your jobs and not consider the people that you're working with, as well as the emotions that they could be feeling, as well as the external factors that are affecting us every day, from government to what's actually happening in our neighborhood. So all of that plays a part on how I'm going to show up to serve this customer. So as an owner, as a manager, a supervisor, we have to be in tune to that to make sure that we are delivering the best service. Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Nia, I have such an appreciation for a restaurateur because I think that is probably one of the most difficult jobs. It's very, very hard. It's hard to stay relevant. It's hard to be taken seriously. You are that. You are a woman, and you are a Black woman. Oh. So talk about some of the challenges because you've seen them on all different levels.
Yeah, I would say I'll talk about maybe the overall challenge is that being judged before you walk into the room, right? Or then being judged once you sit down at the table. And so that in general is, I think, the overall struggle that many women will have, many Black women will have, et cetera. And so then I like to flip it and talk about opportunities. It's just an opportunity for me to show you that I'm serious, that I do mean business, that this is something that I intentionally want, and I work hard, and I'm just as good and qualified as any of my counterparts. And if I'm not, I'm also willing to study and rise to the occasion to it.
Sure. I know that you're a partner with Big Night.
Yeah.
And Ed Kane was here, and Ed said he was so incredibly impressed with you when he met you. And it was important for him to know that you were running the show.
Yeah. Ed is so special. And we talk about, we first just started talking about what we could do together, right? It was like, oh, we love each other. We've loved the energy that we have. What could we do together? And he really loved the first concept, Daryl's. And he was like, what if we just blew this up? And I was like, oh, I love it. Well, what did it look like? And because I talked about being a student and being able to learn. And I think that Big Night is an amazing company. And it was one of the ones that I would admire before I even realized or before I met Ed.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, I was kind of leaning and yielding to him. I said, well, what do you want? Like, how do you see it? You've done this before in a grander scale. And to your point, he's like, no, but it has to be you. It has to be your spirit. It has to be your energy. And I mean, that's what we get with Grace. So I hope we did well by me believing.
Well, I think that the proof has been the pudding, right?
Yeah,
and I think we've proven that it has done well.
Yeah.
Despite some of those challenges, but certainly with the help of some backing like them, because like you said, and I hadn't really thought about this till you and I were talking about this off the air, but Big Night is this company that has they've dipped their toe in so many things, which is really interesting, and always new and fresh, which I have a feeling is something that is in your head.
Yeah.
Is that who you are and where you're going?
Yeah. I mean, one of the biggest things that I admire about them was their scalability, but then also the diversity of their concepts. And to your point, their enterprises. And as a creative, and I think that's the piece that Ed and I share a lot, is that we are always thinking of the next thing, right? And not that we are not invested in what we are currently doing,
right,
but there's innovation and creativity and inspiration on every single turn. And so we're like, well, how do we be a part of that? It gets us exciting, and it allows us to continue to share our gifts and joy with the world.
What do you think is next?
Well, if I had it my way, we would have an outpost down in Miami, but I'm excited.
Well, I'm hoping that you do, and then I'm going to see if I can run it.
Yeah. Listen, we'll do it together.
And I know nothing about hospitality, but I can be nice to people.
Listen, or you can sing.
Well, I've got her absolutely snowed. All right, listen, we did this thing, Fast Five. Okay, so it's fast. It's 5 quick answered questions. Gives us an opportunity to get to know you just a little bit better. So if you're ready, and if our engineer Pete is ready, here we go in 3, 2, and 1. Favorite drink at Grace by Nia?
The Unfashioned with Uncle Nearest whiskey. Yeah.
So that's not an old fashioned, but the unfashioned. I like it.
Yeah.
Best advice your mother ever gave you?
To really look good and present yourself for your next opportunity. You'll feel better.
What was the last thing you watched on TV?
I'm watching this show called The Rookie. I love police procedurals. It's fun, too.
The girl with a degree in criminology.
Yeah.
What's your most frequent impulse buy at the grocery store?
Yogurt. I don't know.
That's an impulse.
Yeah, because I try to stay away from it sometimes, but I love yogurt.
And your favorite genre of music?
It's got to be R&B.
Yeah. Well, you've proven that. Although I got to tell you, the jazz that you can get at the. So I was in there, and there was I cannot remember who the artist was, but he was a trombonist, and boy was he fantastic.
Yeah, it sounds like Cliff Weeks.
I think that
band.
Cliff Week. Yeah, I think Cliff Weeks. I think you've got it. That's exactly what it was. You've got an unbelievable event coming up in the restaurant on March 27th.
Yes.
Okay, so talk about that, because you and I have talked about it, and this is pretty cool.
So I'm super excited. With Grace by Nia, I've had an opportunity, like I say, to kind of set the stage for both the customer as well as the artists who are getting on it. And so on March 27th, for Women's History Month, this will be my first time kind of gracing the stage. I will be hosting The Art of Her. And so we have, an amazing lineup of vocalists, poets, spoken word artists, as well as a perfect pairing of women-owned wine and spirits, including Uncle Nearest and Sincoro. And so it's going to be a really great night to kind of culminate the end of Women's History Month. And I want everyone to show up and sing a song as well, right? At least with me.
So Nia tells me that she's going to sing for the first time there.
A little bit.
You sing?
It's just, I do it for fun, right? I think it's a great way to have some joy. I used to sing in my church choir, but we'll see what we do. I'm going to do more hosting than I do singing.
Have you been on either of the stages singing yet, or at Daryl's?
Yeah, sometimes you can catch me on an off night.
Did you have a Sincora and then decided maybe you'd sing?
Lots of Sincoras.
See, it would take a lot of Sincoras for me to sing.
Yeah.
And the audience would need a lot too.
It's a good time. What I love about the Grace by Nia audience is that they get involved with it. It's sometimes you can go there and just be so enthralled with the show that you're listening. Right. And then sometimes you're up, dancing, singing, and doing it all. So plan to do it all on March 27th.
Fantastic. I love that. Yeah. Do you obviously need to make some reservations?
Oh, yes. Please make reservations. Yep. And if you know the cheat code, ask for Sophie.
And by the way, Nia has told me that her mother has a table, so don't ask for that table.
Please don't.
That makes Sophie's life and yours very difficult.
Very hard.
Well, listen, we've got a great show, and I'm so glad that you're here to share it with me. So thank you again for being here. And I'm looking forward to this. We are going to talk to a woman entrepreneur.
Yes.
She has gone from being an attorney to throwing that to the wind and changing directions completely and going into the hospitality industry, but in a little different way than you have. So that is coming up next right here on Kerrigan and Company. Mobsters, serial killers, movie stars, and con men. America's most notorious crimes come alive in A Nightmare with Casey Sherman, an immersive new true crime stage show coming to the Wilbur Theater on March the 26th. Join best-selling author Casey Sherman along with acclaimed actor John Fiore of The Sopranos, comic legend Steve Sweeney, and a cast of incredible actors as they take you on an immersive, terrifying journey through America's most shocking crimes. Proceeds from A Nightmare with Casey Sherman will benefit the Pete Frates Family Foundation, which supports local patients living with ALS. Get your tickets to A Nightmare with Casey Sherman coming to the Wilbur Theater on March the 26th at thewilbur.com. That's thewilbur.com. This segment of Kerrigan and Company is brought to you by Lucia Lighting and Design, where people in the know go for the best possible lighting and design experience. Welcome back, everybody, to Kerrigan and Company. It is so good to have you with us. And, of course, keeping me company today is Nia Grace, and we're having a great time.
Here we are.
So I'm so glad that you're here. As I mentioned before we went to the break, we have another entrepreneur, a woman who works in hospitality, but has quite the story. She is a winemaker. She is a woman winemaker, I want you to know. Amy LaBelle is here, and she owns 2 wineries in southern New Hampshire, LaBelle Wineries. Very nice to see you, and so glad that you are with us.
I'm thrilled to be here. Thanks for the opportunity.
I was telling Nia, and we were chatting about you and the great wineries, which I have been to, and they are really terrific. And I was telling her, though, your story is really interesting because wine is not where you started. You started in the corporate world. Nia has an interesting story, too. She has a degree in criminology. So everybody kind of starts somewhere else and gravitates if that's where you're supposed to be, it feels like to me. You were an attorney, still are attorney.
Yeah, theoretically, yes. Yes.
That's with you.
Yeah,
Right,
it comes in handy at the business.
I bet it does. I bet it does.
Saves me some legal fees.
So what happened? How'd this happen?
So I practiced law I was practicing overall 16 years, but in my 5th or 6th year practicing law, I had gone in-house to Fidelity Investments, having worked at a large law firm here in Boston. So I lived here for 7 years, and I worked downtown. I had a great time before I moved up to New Hampshire. But working at that law firm, I took a vacation. I moved to Fidelity Investments in-house, every lawyer's dream, right? And I took a vacation that summer up to Nova Scotia, Canada, not wine country. And I loved that place. It's gorgeous up there, by the way. But was driving up the east coast of Nova Scotia, and I happened upon a little sign by the side of the road. And I can still see in my mind's eye, it was a hand-painted sign with kind of a big white arrow on it. And it said, winery this way. And I was like, let's go that way. And I walked into this little winery down this dirt road, and I found my life's calling. It was the wildest thing because it made no sense at the time. I had just gotten this incredible job at Fidelity Investments. And I walked in this winery and I said, like the lightning bolt, the angels appeared, and all the things happened. It was almost like and I still, like, I'm even getting goosebumps right now because it was such an incredible moment for me. And I said, I think that I've missed my calling.
Yeah.
I think that I'm supposed to be a winemaker. And that was not rational or reasonable at that moment. I had $103,000 in law school debt still.
Yeah.
And I just gotten this great job, and and I didn't know how to make wine.
Oh, that other little thing.
There was that tiny detail. Tiny detail. So from that moment in that winery, it took me 4,083 days to open my doors at LaBelle Amherst, my flagship location. And I counted those days because I did one thing every day to move that dream forward. It was just that strong.
Well, it was strong because 4,000 days, that's a long time to hang on to anything.
12 and a quarter years.
Yeah. And a lot of bumps along the way and a lot of life changes, no doubt, along the way.
Lots of life changes along the way. I kept my job, kept my day job because I had to pay off that debt and, pay the mortgage and stuff.
Sure.
I eventually moved up to New Hampshire because I was supporting the Fidelity office in New Hampshire more than Boston. Mm-hmm. And so I got tired of the drive, and I said, and I wanted a big garden. So I moved to New Hampshire, and I got a yard so I could have a garden. And in that time frame, all the while I was learning how to make wine, trying to figure out how to write, get a business. I was a business lawyer, so writing the business plan was easy. But figuring out the chemistry part, because they don't teach you chemistry in law school, right? So I had to go to UC Davis. I got a degree at UC Davis ultimately in their wine program. I did that on nights and weekends, and I would travel to Davis for, out in California for the lab classes, the in-person stuff. And I would do at night, I could kind of get 1 or 2 classes done at a time in their matriculated program at night in their online school. So, I just did all the things I could do to keep the thing moving forward. And eventually I met poor Caesar, my husband, and we were on a date. And, as we do on dates, people start asking about your life and your questions. And he said, what do you want to do with your life kind of thing? And I said, I'm going to open a winery. And he was like, you're going to do what? I explained to him my passion for it and my dream for it. And, he didn't run away. He married me anyway. So
he certainly did.
And now he's my partner. So he's left his career too. And we work together, which is great.
It's so great.
It's great.
Okay. So first off, what was it about the wine business that made you want to do it so passionately? What is it about it?
I think wine is one of those things that really connects people. If you have the proper wine with your food, it makes your food better. It's all about that social connection that we're increasingly kind of losing,
Right.
with all of the online stuff, with everybody on their silly phones all the time. If you're sitting around a table with a bottle of wine, you're connecting. Mm-hmm. And good food does that too, right? Sure. At your restaurants, of course. So, you're very familiar with this, bringing people together. And so that part of it really, that social aspect of it really spoke to me. But also, wine is such a historical beverage. I mean, it thousands of years old. I mean, Jesus is making wine, right?
Yeah,
so I like to say I'm a lot like Jesus. No, I'm not. Don't strike me down. I'm not at all. I try every day.
We'll say you're heaven sent.
There you go. Thank you.
Dear.
Well, the inspiration certainly was, right? And so, that social aspect and that bringing together, creation of community, that was really the part. And even, that first day when I had the epiphany, I thought to myself, oh, wow, I want to create a place where the community will gather, where they will celebrate. And, that's one of my favorite things. I'm always hearing celebration noises at the winery. People are clinking glasses and they're laughing and they're enjoying their food and they're, having convivial conversation. And that's absolutely one of my favorite things to see.
Nia, you have to feel that same way, right? Yeah. I mean, you see that all the time and feel that.
Absolutely. I mean, but I also want to know, how was the wine at that winery? Because you talked about it. You walked in there. How was it? Like, what is it?
Yeah, they were making blueberry wine. So that was also an eye-opener, right? So it was unique is what it was. And it was delicious. They had 3 kinds of blueberry wine up there because it's harder to grow great quality wine grapes in Nova Scotia, although they're making a lot, or, north. The further north you get, the harder it is to grow good wine grapes. But they're making great strides in the last 20 years. Wine grapes can be grafted onto cold, hardy rootstock. So I've got 7 varieties in my vineyard that are actually absolutely spectacular wine grapes. They're just a little lesser known varieties. So we educate.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, but that winery, the wine was good, and they were making these unique wines, and I said, blueberry? What the heck? You can make wine out of blueberries? And as it turns out, blueberries make really good wine.
There you go.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And good conversation as well. Right?
Yeah.
Talking about it. I think, talking about experiences, having people come in and experience something that they've not before is one of the things that I find really special.
Yeah.
So what would be that, I guess, if we were to come to your winery? What's really special that you want us to experience?
Oh, thanks for that question. I'll have the same question back at you.
I'm excited about it.
When you come to LaBelle, the nice thing about it is we're not, we're trying to make it an approachable environment. And so when you come to LaBelle, no question is bad. If you come with questions, we get people all the time that are kind of apologetic because the wine world has done a really good job of making itself seem very lofty and unapproachable and lots of rules. It's very rule driven. None of that at LaBelle. You drink what you like at LaBelle. If you want to drink red wine with your fish, you go right ahead. But we get people that come in with kind of a lot of questions, and they're sometimes apologetic, almost like, "Oh, I'm so sorry, I don't know about wine." Great. That's why we're here. We're here to help and educate, and it's an amazing, gorgeous beverage, but it is a beverage.
Yep.
It doesn't have to be kind of unapproachable.
Right.
So we really pride ourselves in that experience of education at LaBelle, if people want to be educated.
Sure, absolutely.
Yeah.
What happens when turn the question back at Nia?
Oh.
Yeah.
What's the
win-win.
unique part?
Well, for me, it's I think the full experience. Not everyone is able to go out and get that live music, and then you see the menu. We're talking about here's our overture, here's our main course, right? But we're doing it in a different kind of way, and then the food, the melding of it. We're in New England, and you can get some really great Creole inspired food. So I'm wondering, what's a good wine for my jambalaya? It's got a little spice to it.
I love jambalaya and I love spice. So I could see putting with that something like either a white or a red, depending on what meats and fishes you have in your jambalaya. But I could see putting something with a tiny touch of residual sugar so that you could balance out that spice. So, either a Riesling or maybe I do have a red wine that has 20% blueberry and it's a tiny, tiny bit sweet. So I think that might be beautiful with a jambalaya.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
I'll take that, waitress.
Bring it in.
That's what I'd like to have, please.
Bring it to the next order together right now.
Exactly.
Oh, now I really wish I could go to your place for lunch today.
I
So,
know.
Amy, let me ask you. You also go out and you speak and you do lots of other things besides making wine, which is absolutely insane. And congratulations to you and very impressive. But one of the things people must ask you is, how do you stay in it for 12 years? And another thing, I think you've proven it's never too late. You can do whatever it is you want to do and chase dreams. But 12 years is a long time to stay in something.
It is, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
It is, but I still have such a passion for the industry. And you must feel this way too. Because what we do is not easy.
Not at all.
It's hard every single day. And I'm sure like me, I've got the 2 restaurants, I've got a market, I've got a golf course, I've got the 2 wineries. I run over 700 events a year at our properties. So I've got 250 employees. And I'm sure just like you, every single morning there's some problem to face and some problem to fix.
Sure.
And what I always say to new entrepreneurs when they say to me, "Oh, I want to open a pie company, or I want to do this, or I want to do that." If you don't have a serious amount of passion for that topic, whatever it is, you can't get through the hard days at all. And so you need to have just this overfilling bucket of love and passion for what you do. And that's how I get up every day and face, whatever. There's going to be a mechanical problem, an employee problem, somebody's going to quit. There's going to be a snowstorm like last March that shut both my properties down for almost a week without power.
Right.
And I had 7 events that week with wedding. One was a wedding. There always is some crazy thing to solve for. And, it keeps you on your toes.
Sure does.
You are always
Sure
pivoting.
does.
Always. We got through COVID.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a whole
Which
thing.
is a huge thing.
And I feel like we felt like super women coming out of COVID because we're like, we survived that with our
Right.
hospitality company. Here we go.
Right. Absolutely.
So, it's really just about that deep level of passion and love for what I do. And so, I've got that. And then I've got my side projects, which, my personal brand, which I also really enjoy. I love love speaking to audiences on, especially on women's issues. You know, we're just coming out of International Women's Day.
Yeah.
And I would like to just note that there are only 12% of the world's wine is made by women.
So that was,
that.
yeah, that was the next thing. Nia and I were talking about this off the air, and we were talking about women who work in the world of spirits and wine, and there are so few.
Yes.
And frequently, you're the only one at the table.
Yes.
The only woman.
Almost always.
And?
Only 4% of the world's wineries are owned by women. Only 2% of those are founded by women. So it's really a tiny, tiny, tiny number. And that's okay. I kind of had that experience when I was practicing law too, because I was a mergers and acquisitions attorney, and that was a long time ago. I'm like 100 years old. So back in the day, there were not a lot of women in that field either. So I just kind of got used to that.
Sure.
But it doesn't trouble me at all. I'm so excited to be blazing that path for future women who want to be winemakers, who want to work in the field of wine. And why is it that women don't work there? Well, it's very physical. You know, there's a lot of physical labor, like scrubbing tanks, lifting things. I mean, even just a case of wine is 45, 50 pounds, you know.
Sure.
So you're slinging those 100 or 2 a day off a bottling line, and, you know, you're building up some muscles.
Sure.
But so the physicality is one reason why we're overlooked, but also, you know, it's a lot of STEM. You know, it's all chemistry. When I'm in the lab, you know, testing wines and doing what I need to do there to make sure that what I make and, you know, pour my love into comes to you in the bottle just as I intended it and stays that way.
Sure.
I need to make sure my chemistry is right. And so, you know, we're increasing STEM, giving women more opportunities and letting them know they can do it.
Oh, that's so fantastic. That's so good, so good. All right, let's talk about the wines. Well, how many different kinds?
Oh, gosh, it's always too many because I always find new things I want to make. But I roughly run about 30 labels at a time. I try to phase out some, and then people protest, and I bring in new ones, and then the line grows some more. But it's too many wines. I should only have like 15. But there's too many wines I love to make. So.
Is there one that is your favorite?
It's a great question. I get that question a lot.
It's like children, right?
It is absolutely like selecting among my children, but every year there typically is 1 or 2 that really stand out and that ferment just perfectly. You know, every tank, even in the winery, is its own microenvironment. Even if I'm fermenting 2, 3, 4 tanks of Petit Verdot, let's say, each tank is going to come out slightly different because it's got its own temperature, and maybe the sun hit that tank, and maybe they fermented slightly different rate. You know, it's fascinating how things impact the fermentation and the resulting product. But every year is different. This year I mentioned Petit Verdot because it is my absolute favorite this year for the reds. And this year we also released a Méthode Champenoise sparkling wine.
Wow!
Brand new to the market.
Great.
We're one of the only wineries on the East Coast making this French-style champagne method. It's very labor-intensive. Like, it's like the one where you're riddling the champagne bottles and turning them an eighth of a turn every week in the wine cellar kind of thing. So we labored over this, and it's beautiful. So right now I'm pretty much in love with our sparkling wines.
Oh.
But
Fantastic.
So I'm testing them weekly just to be sure.
I'll join you.
Yes, you should. Please do.
If you're looking for a testing committee,
Yes.
you might have one right here.
I'll bring
get a lot
the
of
oysters.
applications. Oh, yes, please. And I'll make some mignonette. It'll be fantastic. Yes.
All right. So let's tell everybody. So the 2 wineries, one is the original is in Amherst.
Yes, that's our
and the
flagship.
other is over in
Derry.
Derry.
Yes.
Exactly. And the Derry location, you can certainly sample, but there's a restaurant there, a full-on restaurant. I mean, there's in both places, but a full-on restaurant there.
Yes.
Which is really fantastic as well. And the winery is open every day except Monday and Tuesday?
Yeah, every day except Monday and Tuesday. Occasionally on Mondays when it's a holiday or whatever. But we're open. Come see us. I think one thing that people are always surprised to find is that we have a full bar, not just wine.
Right.
So sometimes, you know, ladies come and they don't know that they can bring their husbands who want bourbon. In fact, my restaurant in Derry is built around a wall of bourbon. So that was the feature of that restaurant. So really interesting menus, very French-inspired American, approachable fare. So
and when the summer months roll around, you can sit outdoors, which is beautiful at both locations, which is really great. Or you can stand around a barrel and do some wine tasting, which is Very fun.
Yes.
It's just a really fun place.
Thank
and
you.
I was there, and there was a wedding going on, and it was beautiful. So they're wonderful places, and we're so glad that you could be a part of the show. Thank you, Amy, so much. Continued success.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely.
I know where I'm going this spring.
Yeah, I know.
We'll trade. We'll trade. I can't wait to come to your place.
What you got to do is get a limo so somebody drives you.
You're
And then
right.
just drive on up. And it's close and it's good. This is Kerrigan and Company. Well, we did it. We survived another New England winter. As the days get longer, it's time to plan ahead and think about landscape and outdoor lighting. My friends at Lucia Lighting and Design in Lynn can help you get your landscape and outdoor living spaces ready for summer. They'll work with you to plan a space that's well lit, comfortable, and secure. After all, outdoor lighting is like adding a room to your home. Get started by going to lucialighting.com and then make an appointment to visit their beautiful showroom in Lynn, Massachusetts. That's lucialighting.com.
Have you tried Rumson rum yet? This smooth, sweet, memorable rum is distilled in the Caribbean, barreled aged, and then blended, finished, and bottled in Salem, Massachusetts. Rumson's offers 4 unique blends: Gold, Spice, Grand Reserved, and Coffee. Before you start to sip or mix your next cocktail, ask yourself, do I want to enjoy New England's most awarded rum brand? If the answer is yes, the answer is Rumson's. Get Rumson's rum at liquor stores or ask for it by name at your favorite restaurant. Rumson's. Life lived, life enjoyed.
Celebrate inclusion and have a blast doing it at the Northeast Arc's annual Evening of Changing Lives Gala. I'm thrilled that I'll be returning to MC this event at Encore Boston Harbor. I hope you'll join me on Tuesday, April the 8th, to support an organization that helps people with disabilities live as fully included members of their community. The event features a cocktail reception and an inclusive fashion show. Visit ne-arc.org/gala to buy tickets and explore sponsorship opportunities. That's ne-arc.org/gala. Welcome back, everybody, to Kerrigan and Company. I'm so glad you could be with us for this episode. Keeping me company today is Nia Grace, of course, the owner of Grace by Nia in the Seaport, also at Foxwoods. And we've had a really great show. We just learned about a fabulous winery in southern New Hampshire, and what a powerhouse owner, Amy LaBelle, right?
With a great teammate too.
Yeah. She has figured it out. So really taught us about passion, which was really great. But I want to talk about something that I'm very passionate about. I've mentioned it here on the podcast many times, and anybody who knows me knows that I have had a personal involvement with the Northeast Arc for I'd say 20 years plus. And one of my favorite events, not just with the Northeast Arc, but I have to say I do a lot of charity events and I'm involved with a lot of nonprofits. But the Night of Changing Lives, the Evening of Changing Lives for the Northeast Arc is my favorite event that I attend every single year. And I'm lucky enough to MC the event. It's coming up this year, April the 8th. It's at Encore Boston Harbor. And it's a fashion show. And it's just one of the most exciting and fun experiences I think that anyone who's watching has and anyone who's involved with it. And we are thrilled that today, joining us to tell us a little bit more about the event and some of the excitement associated with it is Samantha Gibbs. She is walking in. She's one of the models in the fashion show. And also with us is the CEO of the Northeast Arc, my good friend, Joanne Simons. Hello, ladies.
Hi.
It is so good to have you guys here.
It's so great to be here.
Samantha, I'm so excited for you because this is your first fashion show with the Northeast Arc.
Yes.
So tell me why you're going to do it.
Well, I love fashion, I love makeup, and I love dressing up.
Those are all the reasons to do it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, well, I know you love makeup.
I do.
Because I know that at one point, and maybe you still have an opportunity, you were doing makeup for people. You were a makeup artist.
Well, yes, I currently have a TikTok right now, and I currently have 11.9K followers right now.
Wow.
Samantha, I did not know that about you. Talking about makeup, right, sweetie?
Yeah. I do makeup, I do hair, sometimes I do cooking.
Wow.
And it's my favorite thing in the whole world.
So you work at 19. You have 2 jobs.
I do.
That's my kind of gal.
I know. Well, and Nia, you're going to love this when you hear. So you have been working. How old are you?
I'm 23.
23. Salem State.
Graduated last May.
Oh, good.
A Salem State graduate, and you worked. When you were going through school, you worked in a restaurant. I know.
Did. I do still.
Right. So this is what, Nia owns a restaurant.
Oh,
so this is
really?
why I think the 2 of you have a lot in common. So that
You're after my heart. You work hard. You know how to glam the girls up. And
Oh, yeah.
come to my restaurant.
You might have a 3rd job.
you better watch out.
Do it.
Summers are hot on the seaport.
Joanne, I think that after she's in the fashion show, that may be where her 3rd job comes in too, right?
yes.
Exactly. So, Joanne, you've known Samantha for a long time.
Soon after she was born, I was fortunate enough to meet her amazing parents. And as you know, it takes a village. And Sam was fortunate to be born with an amazing village surrounding her.
Yep.
Parents, Lisa and Rob, and just 2 amazing brothers. And a wonderful community. And I happened to be a CEO at an organization at the time that was supporting families with children with disabilities in Reading, and that's where their home was. So that's where I met Sam.
Yeah. Samantha, have you? I know that you've been involved with the Northeast Arc, right?
I have.
Tell me about some of the things that you've done with them and some of the services that you've been benefiting from.
Well, I have a job coach, and she works there. So she really helps me do my work better than I do right now, and she helps me when problems come up. And she really just helps me understand things that I need to work on and things that I could thrive during what I do.
Don't you wish we all had employees like Sam who want to be continuously improving what they do?
Yeah.
We certainly do.
I do.
Yeah.
I think one of the most amazing parts is what your job coach helped you do, which was how do you get to work?
How do I get to work? Well, I walk to the train station all by myself. I take the train up by myself. And then to here to Newell Station, I take the green line all by myself. And then I walk to the corner of where I work.
Which is
The Alexander Safar Salon in Boston on Newbury Street.
on Newbury Street, right? But you also work in this building.
I do. It's amazing. I love it.
Yeah, at 1928.
Yes.
And, I saw an interview with you a few years ago, and you said, gosh, if someday I could work at the Boston Garden, that would be so cool.
It would.
How did this happen?
Well, I knew somebody that worked here. Her name is Amy, and her full name is Amy Latimer. She really helped me get the job that I have right now, and just made me feel like I could do anything.
I think you can do anything. That's pretty obvious. That's very obvious. What do you do at 1928?
I'm a hostess, and I help people feel confident.
Yeah.
And I help people. I help them. I greet them.
Yeah.
I make sure that they're comfortable as well. I mean, it is a restaurant, so you want to make sure that the people are in there make them happy and make them feel that they'll be like, oh, okay, this is the person that's going to take care of me.
Absolutely. Now, Nia, you can relate to that.
Absolutely. I'm like, Samantha, your kind of personality is what we need. Whenever you walk into a restaurant, you immediately want to feel welcomed. And this is, again, another shameless plug for Grace by Nia, but we've got a job for you whenever you're ready. You need that energy.
We'll get absolutely with that energy. It's so great. I know you want to go to cosmetology school.
I do.
Okay, so tell us about that.
Well, I had a dream in high school. I knew what I wanted to do. And I put my dream forward. I got a TikTok. Now I have 11K.
Yeah.
And that's amazing.
Yes, it is.
And then I started working at the salon that I work at. And then the owner said, well, if you want to touch hair, you should go to cosmetology school. I was like, yeah, why not?
Right.
And I was like, I can do anything that everybody else can do. So I said, okay. I put in my transcript, put in my application, and I'm going to hear about this month, so fingers crossed.
Well, fingers are crossed. You bet. Fingers are crossed. Joanne, Evening of Changing Lives, I mean, it's got to be one of your favorite events, too.
It is my favorite event.
How do we explain it to people? I don't even, I was trying to tell Nia about it. I mean, it's just...
well, Nia may be a model next year, so we've got to...
That's what we'll do, absolutely.
Will you do my makeup?
I will.
Yes, we got this together.
It's when you have an agency, an organization as complex as the Northeast Arc, which has over 17 lines of business. How do you really share the mission in a way that makes people excited that they're at the event and that they want to stay involved? And we've all been to charity events, and they can sometimes seem like they're just, it's Groundhog Day, and you're looking at your watch, when can it end? And what we do is we have a fashion show, and we pair local celebrities with people we support that demonstrate the range of services that we have, from our early intervention program, which are children birth to 3, to our medically fragile nursing program, which we support folks that are on ventilators and tracheotomies and also have intellectual disabilities, all the way up to folks who are aging, and people in our recreation program and people in our employment programs. So we don't have to say too much about what we do, because we let people like Sam speak for the importance of the mission. And it's fast-paced. It's not really exactly about the fashion, although everybody loves to see people dress up. And there's always a little surprise element where we have had a Patriots player come out at the end, and instead of doing the boring raise the paddle in terms of donations, if people haven't already given enough before the event, they can get a football thrown. And we're keeping secret who this year's football player will be. But it's always it's always a challenge to see the football players throw in a lower ceilinged room to the back. But it is so much fun. It's so much fun. It really is fun. And we are able to feature some amazing talent, like Sam, and then there are some folks who require more support than Sam gets. I mean, Sam is really an incredible example of what early intervention and inclusive education and opportunities for postgraduate education, which is what she got at Salem State University, and employment training. And that can become a really important part of our workforce. And that's what we also try to do, is really make sure that we want to support the needs of our community in providing them with talented workers. Absolutely. Yes. Yeah. So what do you think it's going to be like, Samantha? What do you think, this fashion show?
Well,
what are you wearing?
That's what
I have no idea. Honestly, I'm really excited to get my hair and makeup done professionally done.
Oh, yeah.
I cannot wait for that.
Okay, that'll be fun.
When I got the call, I was like, oh my goodness. I am so excited.
So great. Sam is going to be walking with Jenny Holliday, who is the CEO at Encore in Everett, and which is where the event is held. And Jenny's another incredible supporter of the organization and a member of our board. And when she learned who Sam was, she said, oh, I've got to have Sam and her mother in for a day of beauty where we'll get the hair and makeup done, and bring Sam, I think, maybe to shop at, look at what you're wearing and make sure that you look spectacular.
Yeah. Oh, it's so great. I can't wait to see what you're wearing.
Me too. I'm so excited.
I know. I'm very excited for you. It's going to be great. And you'll have to choose a song. Every model gets to choose the song they walk to.
Yes.
So, do you have a favorite? Is there an artist that you're thinking about?
So I'm gonna do "Born This Way."
Oh,
I love it,
because I was born to be here.
You bet you were. You bet you were. That's terrific. Well, I can't wait to see both of of you, and that's coming up April the 8th, again at Encore.
Yes.
And if people are interested, you can go to the Northeast Arcs website, and we'll make sure that we provide more information about that as well. It's been so great to meet you.
Thank you for having me.
I am so glad that you could be here. And Nia, you better watch out. She'll have you working just like crazy.
Yes. Where can I follow you on TikTok?
So my name on TikTok is Glowing Goddess.
Oh, yes. Okay.
Fantastic.
Glowing Goddess on TikTok.
I love that. Well, we'll all be following.
Yay!
Yep. All right. Thank you very much, Joanne. Thanks.
You're
See you
welcome.
soon, my friend.
Absolutely.
All right. This is Kerrigan and Company. Winter's dry air can certainly take the glow out of your skin. I know it does mine. That's why I'm headed to see my friends at Sienna Aesthetic Spa in Beverly. They offer a hydrofacial that's non-invasive and delivers instant results for all skin types with no downtime. It combines cleansing, hydration, and nourishment for a radiant complexion. Their hydrofacial removes dead skin cells and extracts impurities while simultaneously delivering cleansing, hydrating, and moisturizing serum. If you're looking for immediate glow without an irritation, set up an appointment today. Go to siennaaesthetics.com. This segment of Kerrigan and Company is brought to you by Sienna Aesthetics Medical Spa. Take years off your face with the very latest technologies at Sienna Aesthetics in Beverly. It's that time of the show that we wrap things up. We've had a great episode, and I hope you have enjoyed it. And I have certainly enjoyed having Nia Grace with me, keeping me company. It feels like we've had 5 million people in here today.
We've had a time. I mean, this has been the best week of my life, right?
I know. I said to Nia, I've got to get you out of here because we're taping. So we've been in between the breaks. So we've had lots of conversation. Listen, I know you can't talk about it a lot, but we all know that Daryl's existed in the South End, and boy, lots of history there.
Yeah.
And so you've made the decision that a rebrand was in the offing.
Yeah. You know, it's so special to me. I remember walking into Daryl's for the first time 15 years ago now. And it was when I came back to Boston and I was looking for that third space. And I walked in and I said, I love this. And if I ever had a restaurant, I want it to be just like this. I just didn't know that
it would be.
Yes, exactly.
It would be.
And so it has a very special place in my heart. And I think it's that time to revive it, to give it a little bit more of a Nia touch fully. And so I'm super excited to be rebranding and reopening and like bring back that South End Roxbury Community Gym.
Oh, that's so great.
So,
good for you. Well, I know that's a lot of work.
Yeah.
But that will, once that reopens, that'll be Restaurant 3.
Yes.
As we continue down a journey of who knows how many.
We want the dirty dozen, you know? No, we hope to have a few more, though.
I hope you do have the dirty dozen. I think that would be great. We've got the big event coming up at Grace by Nia in the Seaport on the 27th of March.
Yes.
So it's a women's event, and be sure that you go to the website and check it out because you can get more information. And I know that you are intimately involved in just talking to groups and to women. I know we talked about the BBJ and that you were a mentor for leaders. Leadership is important to you, and especially, I think, for young women.
Yeah. You know, I think it's being able to see women in our industry, you know, be it media, be it hospitality, but then also knowing that we're approachable, we're accessible, that, you know, we're here to help. And so a lot of times I get I know you're so busy, and I'm like, but if it's in a moment, if we're planning time, I just want to let folks know that, you know, I'm kind of that beacon, but also that hand to help. I really enjoy mentorship, and I believe that I've had some great mentors, and I probably needed a few more, and a few more that look like us. And so that's what, in our industry, which is dominated by, you know, men, you know, there are a few women out here that are running it, doing it, and are here to help.
Yeah.
So,
well, I love that, Nia. I really do. And maybe the two of us could get together and we could put something together and do a mentoring event. Wouldn't that be great?
That would be
because
great.
I would love to do that, because you're right. A lot of people put their hand back and pulled me, and I'm happy to reach around and pull somebody else.
and I know the perfect place to host it, too.
You do? Do you have any singers?
Might have a few.
Nia Grace, continued success, my friend. Thank you so much. This has been really, really fun.
Thank you, Kim.
Thanks to all of you, too, for listening today. I hope, and watching, by the way. Hope you've enjoyed it. Be sure you follow us on social. And when you go to YouTube and you're watching it, be sure that you subscribe. We'll see you next time. Thanks, everybody, for listening to Kerrigan & Company. To find out who will keep me company and be my co-host on the next episode, be sure you follow us on Instagram, Facebook, X, and TikTok. Kerrigan & Company is recorded at the Big Night Studios at the TD Garden in Boston. You can view the podcast on YouTube and listen to it wherever you get your podcasts. Be sure you tell a friend. The executive producer of Kerrigan & Company is David Thompson. Our engineer is Peter Hurley. And our social media managers are Grace Kerrigan, Colby Thompson, and Riley Thompson. See you next time.